For the past 5 months, a certain rhythm game has taken over my life, and while most healthy individuals would hyperfixate and then move on with their lives, as we have clarified over 5 years of YouTube, I am not like most people. Mario Madness is a collaborative fan-made project for the hit series Friday Night Funkin', and if you don't know what Friday Night Funkin' is, how did you make it to this video? A project that, on the surface, seems like a collection of songs that hit and then move on. In reality, it's practically a game that reinvents the FNF genre, while paying homage to the classic Mario creepypasta culture that existed. Apparently, these songs have so much complexity and care put into them that I was transfixed the moment I opened that little file. My name is Count Bubby, and today we are going to be ranking every single song in Mario's Madness V2. Before we get started, let's lay down some criteria for grading, shall we? First, we have beat. For this, we will be grading how the level sounds. Does the song have any interesting sound choices? Is the composition on point? And how much does the instrumental appeal to my little primate brain? If the song is unique, great. If it drags on, there are other areas to improve in, so all is not lost. I will say that this is going to be the main criteria for grading, but the night is still young. Next, we have rhythm. Here we'll go over how well the gameplay mechanics scale and work with the beat. I will be grading based on how satisfying it was to play the level, how clever each mechanic is in practice, and how much effort I had to put into the level. I like a good challenge, but there's a certain point where difficulty is just delusional. Last but certainly not least, we have style. This is primarily for how well the art style meshes with the other two categories, as well as any fun little details snuck into the level. Each song is based off of a classic Mario creepypasta, so there's a lot of references to pull from. And of course, it goes without saying, but this is purely my opinion. If you disagree, you're wrong, but I would be happy to hear about it in the comments. This video is explicitly a passion project. Can you tell I'm not doing it for clout? I'm only releasing it 10 months after it was relevant. Lastly, I want to clarify that all the songs in this mod are phenomenal. I love every single track in this mod. Just because a ranking is low doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. With that all out of the way, let's-a go.
You gonna tell Mom I was smoking?
No, Mario, I'm not gonna tell.
Yeah, you better not, or I'll kick your ass. Anyway, just keep your mouth shut, scrote. Here come the guys. Hey.
Someone had to be in last place, and unfortunately, it was Day Out. Nothing about this song is innately bad. It has some neat moments with the switching vocals, and I could honestly listen to it in my free time. One of my biggest complaints is that I have nothing to say about the song itself, which, if that isn't fishing for complaints, I don't know what is. Most of the song is pretty repetitive, playing the same note strings without much variation. I was, however, pleasantly surprised when Luigi got a chance to sing, but his parts were far and few between. Speaking of Luigi, there's a mechanic that involves swapping the arrow bar to the other side of the screen, which did mess me up a bit, what with my lack of object permanence and all. However, upon playing this level back a few times, the trick gets stale and feels more like a neat gimmick to point and gawk at.
You dumbass geek.
The song's charting is fine, it's nothing spectacular. However, there are a few double notes that don't correlate with any significant beats within the song, and I hate that. I really don't like when a song tries to be difficult in an undeserving way. Sometimes your song can just be simple and fun. Most of the song plays smoothly, but after a while it just feels like note spam to keep the beat fast. And that kinda sucks. Of course, how can I not talk about the artwork?
'Cause my mom's a fucking idiot.
I don't like the artwork. Day Out was inspired by Hot Diggity Demon's video Luigi's Day Out, and as such, the art style is derived as an imitation of that same art style. I can tell the artist put a lot of effort into the models, but something about it just feels incomplete. There's one part where Mario facepalms, and instead of animating him, they just kind of pan the assets for his mouth and eyes down, and I just really don't like it. Despite that, I think there's some great talent working on this song. The style is nearly identical, and there's some really good instrumentals at work here. All my nitpicking aside, this song is a solid hit with a few underwhelming features, earning it a place at number 28. Alright, we're 2 songs in. Now's about the time where I should piss people off. Nourishing Blood, by all accounts, is fine. If I had to give it a summary in one word, I would use the word mid. To clarify, I don't mean it's bad or boring or whatever else people associate with mid. What I mean is it is a strictly middle-of-the-road song. The beat has a direction and a sense of rhythm, and there are even a few callbacks to the inspiration for the source material, what with the whole Flintstones theme. It's clear the devs were having a lot of fun with this level, which is why it hurts me to put it this low. Despite everything being an improvement from the last song, I just don't vibe with it nearly as hard. At a certain point, the arrows start bouncing around the stage, making it hard to discern their actual location. Regardless, the mechanic is fun and it follows the aesthetic of a shitpost, but therein lies the issue. For a joke level, it's hard to take seriously. And before you start typing up a storm in the comments, I know, but the joke only hits about the first few times you play it. Unless you are a die-hard Granddad fan, in which case, why do you exist? It's mostly a footnote in the roadmap. Additionally, the art style is fine, but I'm not a fan of how simple it is. They didn't need pyrotechnics or anything like that. I'm just not nearly as present for this level as I am for others. Regardless, it's a fun song with laughs galore, jam-packed with memes and references. It's worth a play and sits solemnly at 27.
Is Mario, who will be played by Chris Pratt.
It's a me, a Mario.
So Cool is a chill look into what the rest of the mod has to offer, and I think it accomplishes that pretty well. The song is reminiscent of background music within Nintendo Directs, and the flow is seamless. I really like that the song doesn't try to overstep its boundaries. It feels like that chill dude vibing by himself at a party. And honestly, I can't blame him. It's a slow-paced vibe with all the right amounts of rhythm. So why is it so low? Despite what it does well, it is one of the calmer songs of the mod. It thrives in mediocrity, and I think that suits it. Unlike the other songs before it, I can pleasantly replay this level and just enjoy myself. Another thing this song does right is the aesthetic. Playing the level through the lens of a streamer is a brilliant subversion of the boyfriend-girlfriend trope. And by the way, if you're new to FNF, those are their names. I know. And the chat is just hilarious. I'm pretty easy to make laugh, and some of the chat is so dry humor coded that I can't help but love it. If you ever get the time, go through and read some of the messages yourself. Chris Pratt's vocals at the start of the Mario movie were dry and tasteless, but this level is anything but, earning it a spot at 26.
It's a me, a Mario.
I once saw someone describe No Hope as the intro to a boss battle. More accurately, it sounds like the build-up to a boss battle. The slow tapping of the drums gives a grand sense of building tension, allowing the song to play off the momentum it generates. The chromatic of this song is like an electric guitar, and the backing instrumentals help give this atmosphere of impending fury. But it is near the bottom of the list, so what gives? Well, to be frank, the song leaves much to be desired. After a while, the beat fades from its own vision in favor of note spam, and the song just doesn't hit as hard as other songs do. Additionally, the notes don't feel all that satisfying to hit, with a few notable exceptions. It does frustrate me that the charting on 60% of the song is just utter nonsense. I've seen mosquitoes with more predictable pathing. The sword mechanics are a nice touch. I really like having to drop what I'm doing to focus on not getting my head taken off. I know it sounds sarcastic, I'm dead serious. Let me say now that I'm a big fan of dodge mechanics. Although the dodge lines up with key parts of the song, making certain swings predictable and other swings completely out of nowhere. Which, if you're gonna pick one, stick to it. Either make it predictable or unpredictable. I don't like melding the two worlds. Despite the note spam, I also like just how difficult this song is. It took me more than a few tries to clear it since my ghost tapping was off like a man, and I think it's all the better for it. Of course, the design for Devil Mario is the real highlight. It's very simple in concept and very subtle in execution. I do, however, think the spread of dead Luigi and Peach looks a little goofy. They don't look dead so much as they look passed the fuck out. Despite that, the backdrop is great too. The stone castle gives a darker color palette that the song definitely needed. While No Hope sounds like an introduction to a boss battle, it just falls short of being a villainous theme, leaving it at 25. Yeah, racist Mario! Oh wow, that is not a soundbite I want on the internet. Race Traders is one of those songs where I didn't pay much mind to it at first, but after repeated playthroughs, I found out that the song kinda slaps. The chromatic for Mario I could take or leave, but some of the corresponding beat and intense vocals really sells it for me. The song also has some clever implementations of Mario Kart sound effects, like the warning sound of an incoming shell or the countdown in the beginning of a race. Small details like that really make it all the better. Unfortunately, the song's a sprint, not a marathon. Over time, Race Traders loses most of its charm and just mellows out. That being said, the song is by no means bad. I really like the mechanics built into the gameplay. When the red shell begins to hit, I can't help but feel the impact in the rhythm like a kick drum. And the ghost turning arrows translucent is also a nice touch. The level is gratifying to play and satisfying to execute note strings. Until the mushroom. Now don't get me wrong, the faster arrows make sense mechanically, but after the arrows speed up, it suddenly feels less gratifying to land successful note presses, especially with ghost tapping enabled. The art style was based on Flash Git's Racist Mario, but I can't help but feel like it wasn't executed fully. No criticism of the artist, Flash Git's is just a very specific style and was bound to cause some conflict, much like Racist Mario. Altogether, Race Traders is a classic with a divisive edge that sets it nicely at 24. Coronation Day is a Super Mario World ROM hack with a convoluted story and an even more confusing antagonist in The King. Seriously, if I had the time to explain the story, I would, but it goes so deep. So, you'll have to deal with what's in front of us for now. Despite my coldness to the ROM, I do genuinely believe the concept and the story itself are great when it's made apparent. But what does that have to do with Dark Forest? Well, to start, the devs knew what they were cooking when they developed this song. And boy, were they cooking. The vocals are inhumane, harmonized screams with a perfect backdrop to a rushed instrumental, making it sound like a fight for your life. A clear one-to-one representation of the ROM. Unfortunately, while the song does have a solid rhythm, it falls short of any semblant gameplay. Much like the ROM, the song has no mechanic to guide it, leaving it a messy song that sounds like I'm getting stabbed alive, but I'm kinda into it. Despite that, I do genuinely like the sound of Dark Forest. It just doesn't have any backing gameplay to make it stand out. What does stand out is the art. Every detail, from the bridge to the house, even the red secret level, was pulled straight from the ROM and is represented beautifully within the level. Even the parts where the king is glitching out are just like the corrupted graphics from the game. I adore the passion put into this level, which leaves Dark Forest as the king of low tier at 23.
You thought the Koopa worked alone?
Kicking off mid-tier is a divisive choice at best. Oh God No follows a similar pattern as No Hope. That being, people really like the song when the level plays like ukulele. I mean, it's alright. The sound of this level is great. I feel it captures the betrayal and heartbreak of the original I Hate You Luigi story. The pace is fast and upbeat with rapid notes and stellar voice acting. It also plays off a similar chorus we see in Luigi prominent songs. I couldn't explain what it is, but just know I noticed it. If I had to say what my biggest criticism is of this song, it would be the rigid note structure and lack of in-game mechanics. Most charting feels like it's fast for the sake of being fast, which, alright. They try to fix that in the follow-up, but we'll get to that soon enough. While the note spam is purposeful, it is still note spam. And after a while, it gets tiring. All the best bits of the song come in chunks separated by hard arrow tracking, and that just isn't a way to present a level. The art is nice with round line work and atmospheric light, but ultimately is nothing too special. There's some neat moments with the still color confrontation between Mario, Luigi, and Peach, but aside from that, it's very serviceable, which isn't bad. Luigi fought to get the spotlight and earned himself a lava bath at number 22.
Why won't you die? I hate you!
Just when he thought he was out, I pulled him back in. I Hate You takes everything I just discussed in the last song and improves upon it, if not slightly. The music is much faster and sounds manic, which I love. Luigi sounds like he's literally burning alive with hatred, as if he's hit his boiling point. The garbled vocals fit Luigi a surprising amount, and Boyfriend is passable. That being said, it's still with its flaws. The song is fast and the notes are too, almost annoyingly so. Level introduces a lava mechanic that is used to block notes, but it's so minimal that it basically doesn't exist. I would have taken health drain or fire hazards on the arrow field, but beggars can't be choosy, oh well. Bitching aside, the level is still fun to play, if not just for the music. Speaking of, everyone looks great in this. Luigi's mangled body, the boos, and even zombie Mario's, which I know come from the creepypasta, but my bias is showing because I don't really care that much. Even if they're only there for a few moments, the art clearly went a step in the right direction. I Hate You is a heated level filled with betrayal and spite, making Luigi a double bath baby at number 21. before I start, I want to say I have the biggest fucking bone to pick with this song. I should put it way lower, but here we are. I despise note spam, but the one thing I hate more than note spam is pointless double notes that were put on this earth by God just to fuck with me. That being said, I'm also the biggest MX simp you'll ever meet, so it's just glaze from this point forward. Demise holds a special place in my heart for a lot of reasons. First of all, I love the song itself. It has its problems, but it still sounds great for what it is. A lot of fast-paced notes with the demonic MX screaming over your shoulder. It's so intense and metal, I love it. But the main thing that makes me adore Demise so much is the visuals. MX himself is massive and imposing. Not to mention we get a slightly better look at the hellscape they're stuck in. The art takes such bold choices for the small moments that make the song so much better. When they synchronize, and especially when they enter World 1-2. It's everything I would ever hope from a Mario 85 song. With the exception of gameplay, of course. The reason I love MX so much is because he's exactly what you would get if Mario decided to go off the deep end. An unstoppable juggernaut with limitless stamina stomping everything in his path. It won't matter if he's fast enough to catch you, because you can't run forever. Demise is a race on an ever-winding highway to hell, and a certified banger at number 20. There's something strangely comforting about the old Game Boy aesthetic. Maybe it's a reminder of a simpler time when games were made with the sole purpose of bringing joy. Or maybe it's just the classic feel of 8-bit soundtracks. Whatever it is, the beginning of Golden Land captures that vibe to great success. The beat is calm and rhythmic, with it playing a classic version of Athletic from Super Mario Land 2. The song is calm and refining, almost alarmingly so. Almost as if it's hiding something. Something sinister. Golden Land truly kicks off with a barrage of notes juxtaposed to the classic theme we heard at the beginning, as we are thrown into the heat of the song, and man is this song heat! The notes are fast-paced with a metal motif, giving it a rocking aesthetic befitting analog horror Mario. Yes, I know who GB is, he's still analog horror Mario. The notes do have a sense of rhythm, although it's hard to tell at first. Even still, there are some good note strings that feel great to play. There are a few moments where the charting is just trying to disorient you, but it's less of a focus of the song, so I can forgive it. Which, by the way, monochrome pixel art sells the level all the way. The dark colors and gritty style nails the creepy aesthetic and allows GB to jam out in the best way possible. The song is short and leaves a bit to be desired, but is by no means a bad track. Golden Land is a simulacrum of a time long forgotten, with its legacy cemented at number 19. You want fun? Wario show you fun. Apparition is strangely haunting given the source material. I mean, a creepypasta about a floating head? My bad. Wario's floating head. Mind controlling you into doing what he wants? The textbook definition of goofy. And yet this song just hits all the right boxes. I like the even flow of notes interrupted by the occasional barrage of notes. It feels like you're being hypnotized only to break free in a manic panic. Shit, I should be writing this down. I don't often compare the legacy versions of these songs, since it's mostly irrelevant, but for Apparition specifically, you can see what they were going for in the first version, and how they perfected it in the second. The art blends seamlessly with the VHS aesthetic, and the Wario head is delightfully strange. And the pause screen? Perfection. I also would like to note a detail that I don't really see anyone talking about, and that's the fact that the date in the bottom left corner changes according to the day you played the level. Small details like that really win me over. For some reason, I feel compelled to move this song up the list, but even still, Apparition has mesmerized its way to number 18. Before I start, I just want to say that nothing in my life has brought me nearly as much suffering as this level. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Pray I was joking, but I'm not. Before I start ranting, let's get the good out of the way. Rhythm Game 9 is an unmatched gem of 8-bit rhythm gaming. The game's beat and notes flow so seamlessly that I would believe that it is almost perfect game design. The song itself slaps and does not let you forget it. I was stuck on this level for over 20 hours, and it wasn't until the 30th hour that I started to kinda get sick of the track. Some of the charting hits so perfectly that you can't help but bop to the direction the arrow slaps your fat little cheeks with. Now then, for the rest of this, I'm going to rant, so here's a quick clarification. I do not dislike this level, nor do I believe any of my criticisms are valid. I am, however, entitled to bitching since this level treated me like a Broly-made fuck buddy. Now then, this level works off of a don't miss mechanic, which is fine for the first 2 minutes. Afterwards, kiss your ass goodbye. You cannot miss a single note, or it's back to the beginning. Throughout the level, there are rings to save you from this, but once you miss one note, all of your rings are gone, and you need to pray for another to come by soon. This level is the definition of getting good, and I am bad. So very, very bad. For real, I've seen streamers no-diff this level and not even realize what the gimmick was. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in 8-bit hell trying to claw my way out. I think it would have been better and way easier if the rings worked like a life system, where one failure accounted for one loss of one ring. That way, I would have only had to spend 10 hours on this stupid level instead of opposed to 50. I should say that I didn't beat Rhythm Game 9 in the process of making this video. However, in the process of getting gameplay for this video, I managed to squeak out a win by the skin of my teeth. That being said, I don't know how dedicated I am to proving that, so unless the gameplay here is definitively me and not the bot. So, yeah. Despite that, I think Rhythm Game 9 is a great level that I would rank higher if it weren't so hostile towards casuals. So I'm proud to stand it atop of mid-tier at number 17. Let's get to some of the really good songs. Starman Slaughter. This song is a collection of everything that made its predecessor good and explores it in full. When I first started playing this game, I blew at rhythm games, still do. So I admittedly struggled against the tide of this song's charting, because man, it's something. However, once I got my bearings, I found myself coming back consecutively, and I think that's something special. First of all, the chromatics in this song are metal as hell. It's such a raw, guttural sound that works with the rock and metal instrumentals. Horror Mario sounds great as always, but it only gets better when the rest of the horror crew makes themselves known. That's a weird sentence to me. Anyways, it's wild that they were able to make Horror Peach and Coronation Day Peach sound totally different, while working off of a similar vibe and aesthetic. Of course, how could I not mention my man, John Dick? This man comes out of nowhere playing the meanest trumpet solo of all time and just expects me to roll over it. I like the blend of jazz and rock that this section brings. It feels like the musicians were really pushing boundaries when it came to making this song. Unfortunately, my biggest complaint is how simple the tracking tends to be at times. Don't get me wrong, the level is still fun, but I find the gameplay is relatively simple by Mario Madness standards. There are advantages and disadvantages for making your song beginner friendly. This song is definitely faster than most, and as such, some of the tracking suffers from it. Like when you get to Peach's section, the song sounds great, but most of the charting is utter nonsense. Speaking of, the art is crazy. From the new pose for Horror Mario to the hellscape backdrop of the Mushroom Kingdom. For the second level in this game, it feels like they're really showcasing what this mod is capable of. I especially like it when Horror Mario comes back all melted from the hellfire and it's just absolutely livid. And the end screen is just perfection. Starman Slaughter is a textbook example of how to demonstrate your dev team's capabilities and ambition, slashing through mid-tier and placing Starman Slaughter at number 16. After journeying through countless levels and defeating numerous villainous creatures, we find ourselves at Death's Door. We find ourselves at the end. The first thing that jumped out at me was how unnerving the design of the costume was. I think it's because it vaguely resembles something out of an analog horror series, or maybe it's just the grayscale color patterns that give it an eerie vibe. But man, does this shit crank up! I never thought that an EDM chromatic for a Chuck E. Cheese looking motherfucker would hit this hard, but man does it cook. The voice is so low and gravelly, not to mention the tinge of electronic autotune in the voice. It melds so well with the backdrop. Speaking of which, the voice lines are chilling in the best way possible. They happen for brief moments, but man did they stick with me. The distorted way it says, "Let's go!" are so uncomfortable that it reminds me of that calm horror you feel watching a villain like Hannibal Lecter. More often than not, monsters try to go for the out of his mind style of crazy, when it's the subtlety that truly brings terror. And boy does this level bring that terror. On top of the music slapping to all hell, the camcorder security footage tops it off in aesthetic. It's grainy, narrow, and flawless. Then the transition hits, and this mod reaches a new peak for me. Costume may have been left behind at the end of the line, but he will always have a place at number 13.
Mario. The Kickstarter sucked. The team's done.
The game wasn't much popular than people thought, boyfriend. You think I don't know about the merchandise? You tried to fuck me.
Dictator is definitely what I would define as a sleeper song. One of those tracks that seems unassuming at first, then hits you like a ballistic bullet bill. I really like the jazz motif that the song has. It plays on the idea of substance over quantity. The note tracking is spot on, and the bullet bill mechanic was a pleasant surprise. Sure, it's not difficult, but it's just fun enough to where it doesn't need to be. The chromatics on this song are just superb. Mario sounds beautifully arrogant with a hint of unhinged, and serves the song all the better. If I had to state a minor complaint, it's that the art style and aesthetic aren't doing a lot for me. The song just kind of plays itself, but that isn't a bad thing. I wish I had more to say about this song, but I genuinely believe this song is just great all around. With no other options and a steel boot against my neck, I'm giving Dictator a Gilded Throne at number 14. Last Course is one of those songs that I would describe as a dreadful build. A track that starts simple enough with predictable note charting and a simple song design. But as the song progresses, the level becomes more and more difficult. I adore Last Course. I didn't expect to see turmoil, let alone two mechanics working against me during the song. The concept of a Yoshi Mario is so fresh and inventive that I can't help but love everything put into this song. The chromatics are great, the new boyfriend vocals are nice, and the note charting feels like an actual animal placed them. Another thing I love about this level is just how on edge I was through the whole song. Not because I was creeped out or nervous, but because these mechanics are aggressive. And I love it. I'm a big sucker for health drain, and an even bigger sucker for quick time events. Let the record show, I'm a big time sucker. I really like the clicking sound just before the dodge mechanic, and how it's perfectly synced up with the song itself. It almost makes the song feel like it's lacking something when you listen to the track alone. And of course, the backdrop of half-eaten enemies is a phenomenal touch. I like how subtle Turmoil's design is, almost as if you can't tell anything's wrong with him until he opens his mouth. It's disgusting and glorious at the same time. I think it's safe to say that when it comes to eating, there's no creature alive that compares to Turmoil's ravenous hunger, earning him a delicious spot at number 13. Jesus Christ, Unbeatable is a trip into hell and a half. First off, I want to say that Unbeatable is truly amazing. That being said, it's like a secret boss from hell. If you haven't figured it out this far, I'm not the best rhythm game player. I'm not even close to decent. So put an unbeatable level in front of me, and of course I'm going to slam my head against it. The song is divided into 4 parts, so let's tackle them unequivocally. I don't think I'm using that word right. Then I'll give you my ratings for the categories, shall we? Phase 1. The first phase isn't anything too crazy. I will admit that the note tracking at various fast parts goes a little wild, but I am under the firm belief that the devs made this song intentionally to be difficult. So it's alright. The melody is simple as such, with basic notes and rhythmic patterns. After the beat kicks in, the track definitely picks up. It almost feels like a hard EDM rap beat, which weirdly fits. That being said, Mr. SYS or Mr. Sis, or I don't know what his name is, kills it in his parts. And the arrow tracking is for the most part enjoyable until you reach the climax. At the top of the song, you are introduced to yet another don't miss section, which, coming from someone who misses quite frequently, would have made this level unplayable if it weren't for drop dead dirty cheating. Despite my reservations, this part slams unbelievably hard and is almost worth the brain ulcer. Kicking off phase 2, we are introduced to the Duck Hunt dog, who is just straight up breaking it down. Now for this portion, the dog will slam into your health bar, knocking it back, so while it's not a don't miss mechanic, the damage adds up. Oh, and don't worry, it can kill. I feel like the knockback mechanic is a more fun variation of the health drain as seen in Last Course. So how does the chromatic and vocal sampling stack up to the rest of the song? Answer: it's absolutely fantastic. Granted, the notes come at you fast and hard, but as we previously established, that is the norm here. My only real complaint here is just how hard I had to lock in that I couldn't appreciate the stunning character designs. Call me biased if you want, but Bowser's section is by far my favorite. His growl of a voice just works so well for this part. If you listen really closely, you can occasionally hear motifs from the original Super Mario Bros. Bowser's Castle. God, that is such a mouthful, I hate myself for writing that. At this point of the song, there's a stick of fire that won't allow the health bar to progress past the midpoint, which for me was a pleasant subversion of the usual health drain, or don't miss mechanics. Bullet bills fly around in the background, but I'm not sure if that's meant to block your vision or just act as a cool background feature. Either way, it's a nice touch. Might I also say that I really started jamming to the vocal sampling they did for Bowser? They say the same line in all three parts, but I think it works best here. Now then, it's all been building to phase 4, and does it deliver? Well, I think so. Maybe. But this part of the song has some aspects that I like and things I don't. For starters, the opening for phase 4 is so climactic it almost rivals the build-up to the final level. Okay, maybe not, but it's a close second. When the music kicks off, it genuinely sounds great, like they sped up a remix of their own song, which somehow works incredibly well. All three mascots get to have their time to stand out and show off, and it genuinely sounds great when it all happens. Which leads me to my one and only complaint, and I'm almost ashamed to say it, because it's not even a fair one. Regardless, the song is just too hard.
The song's too hard!
Yeah, I'm a little baby who can't play rhythm games, sue me. Now, I don't exactly fault the song for this, since literally everyone else clears this with little to no issue. I, however, am a literal child playing with colored shapes. I'm a big fan of challenges in video games, but this challenge is simply not one I can overcome yet. As you may have noticed, this is one of only 2 songs I have asked a cheat bot, Luigi, to help me with. However, putting the skill gap aside, I think the song is genuinely great, and I'm very happy with placing it at top of high tier, despite it being a little overqualified for the ranking. Guess you should have guessed a literal diaper baby was going to play and judge your game. Shucks. Regardless, Unbeatable is an unrivaled masterpiece, and thus has earned the spot at number 12. Now for the song everyone will disagree with me for. Thalassophobia scratches a soft part of my brain that I didn't know fully existed. And that's a part that relishes eerie soft rock ballads. I love this song and really want to place it higher. I personally believe that it gets slept on way too much, but that's besides the point. At no point in this song do I consider there to be a weak part. Every second of this song hits its mark phenomenally. The drums playing a hard beat, the distorted vocals of Luigi, the synthetic notes playing in the background. It's so well made. It gives me Buried Alive vibes, which if you haven't heard Buried Alive, I would highly suggest it. I can't play it here because copyright, but I can suggest it. Don't strike me, YouTube. The gameplay was also a pleasant surprise since the song is slower than most. So I got to play the song in its entirety and just appreciate the effort put into it. The coin mechanic is a fun touch, but at no point does it ever become worrisome. If the coins were a lot tighter, I could see the gameplay being more stressful and exciting. There's two words I never thought would go hand in hand. If the slow notes were easy to hit while missing one coin at any certain part of the song spelling certain doom for Luigi, would be a nice touch, but I'm just thinking out loud. The underwater parts also have a cool touch with the tangled vines and the silhouette of the giant eel. I hear some people say that the song only gets good after the organ, but I think that's incredibly delusional. Luigi may not have been able to escape his fate in the fountain, but he left behind one of the best rock ballads that this mod has to offer, placing him atop the rest at the head of high tier, and a strong number 11. Now, we're getting to the big boys. The top 10. These songs go above and beyond my expectations and are as close to what I would describe as perfection. Ringing in this heavenly category is a little song about piracy. No Party is a circus-themed pop melody featuring high energy and sneaky tactics. This song plays dirty in all the best ways. DJ Halibut is a genuine menace. Don't let his appearance fool you. First of all, this song is so freaking catchy. Due to the circus motifs, the theme feels strong and really nails the Mario Party atmosphere. It took me back seeing the Mario Party DS opening. Another overlooked detail about this level is just how much the background and notes add to the song. The moving Nintendo Hudson background, the plastic-looking notes, and the checkered shapes in the backdrop of the notes bar. All of these elements really emulate the feeling of the classic Mario Party. Additionally, the writing portion fucking hurts. Throughout the song, DJ Halibut will make you write him various apologies based on how well the pen marks within the gray letters. Except, it turns out he has the vision of Stevie Wonder because he bludgeons you to death regardless of whether you write the word or not. This mechanic is lots of fun, and it's even better since I have the worst handwriting known to man. I had to bust out the drawing pad just to stand a chance. I didn't. Regardless, the messages provide a fun break between notes and a lot to stress about, making piracy more fun than ever. So remember, kids, piracy is no party. Also, it takes the number 10 spot. Overdue is a grade A song that is doing way too much and having all of it work for the better. To get this out of the way, the weakest part of the song is the track itself. It's a slow crawl without heavy, in-your-face melodies. The track knows what it is and plays to its strengths, allowing the song to almost tell a story. The song itself is great, and the reason why it's the weakest part is because everything else is just amazing. I am infatuated with this game design. The mechanics of this song play off of two factors, the first being Pico's gun, and the second being Mr. L's advance. The gun is such a fun idea, with the mag representing how many bullets you can miss, and if you run out, so does Mr. L. As for the health bar, I've always really liked health drain, so whenever a mod includes it, I'm always pleasantly surprised. However, Overdue takes it a step further. At the beginning of the song, the drain is minimal, almost as if Mr. L is creeping towards you, slowly and deliberately. That is, until you reach the end of the song. The drain is great and accelerated, almost as if he's running after you, closing the distance with great speed. When I reached the end portion, I was focused in a way I've only had to do for a few songs, and I really think that benefits the level. Of course, the art style is phenomenal, with a great amount of attention to detail. Just like Dark Forest, this song also has a changing background. Each one was consciously chosen to represent an aspect from the mod from which this is derived. From the Dark Road to the fleshy hellscape, even down to the Hall of L's. And the design for all of it is nothing short of perfection. Mr. L is tall and gaunt just like in the ROM, while the ghost of Mario was torn up and melted just like in the mod. Everything about this song gives me such joy, and it's rightfully earned its place at number 9. At this point, I've played a lot of songs, but none of them floored me like Paranoia. Deriving from the source material, Paranoia is about a virtual serial killer who stalks and hunts his prey all through a Virtual Boy console. Isn't that fun? This song blew me away. First of all, the chromatic on Mr. Virtual is just stellar. He sounds like an old analog computer, which perfectly fits the whole Virtual Boy theme. The gravelly scratches that can be perceived as pitch give the song its own flair, and just kills it in the best way possible. I also like how the beat tracks with the gameplay. Having sudden kicks move the screen is awesome. Which, playing it long enough, the art. Let's talk about it. This song fucks with your computer, throwing the window all over the screen, enlarging previously minimized tabs, and even changing your background on your desktop. Whatever the devs could think of, Mr. Virtual does it, and more. Hands down, this song has the best visual style out of any song. I mean, how can you beat a virus that messes with your PC? Disclaimer, do not download viruses for fun. I honestly wish I could convey how much I adore this song, but the words just don't exist yet. That being said, the gameplay is fun, but falls short of everything else. The note tracking is great at times and annoying at others. I find that most of the double notes in this song don't need to exist, nor does it add too much to the rhythm, feeling more like a cheap gimmick to make the song unique. Despite that, what the song does right, it performs immaculately, meaning any shortcomings I have with the song are purely just me nitpicking. Paranoia has done something most AAA games have failed to do. That is destroying my expectations, making it criminal that I have to give it the number 8 spot. I have a soft spot for nostalgia, and the beginning of Promotion has me hooked. This song has two very different tones, which we will discuss later. But for now, the beginning portion of the song gives me hardcore, classic Chuck E. Cheese energy. For real, the classic days of Chuck E. Cheese, when everything was bright, round, and mildly off-putting, everything this first half is. The vocals are smooth, chill, and very foreboding, if you pay attention. It lures you into a false sense of security, only for things to take a darker turn. When Luigi appears on screen, we only get one last back and forth between Promotion Mario and Boyfriend before the screen fades to black. Meet Stanley, an AI who really wants to die. You see, Stanley and Promo Mario, they're not the same guy. Stanley feels very strongly about his view on life, which is to not have it. The reason I'm explaining all of this is because the mod plays around the hidden narrative of Super Mario 64 Classified in a subtle yet brilliant way that I couldn't help but explain. The second half of the song is fast and desperate, nailing you with relentless notes and fun visuals, making you feel pressured in a situation you really shouldn't be in. But upon re-listening to the track, it only gets better the more you understand it. Also, it goes without saying, but the art is amazing. Stanley, Luigi, and Peach all look haunting, and the void looks detailed in a way I never thought possible. Now, it's a little unfair to give the song points from an outside source, but what is this mod if not works of passion for pre-existing source material? Also, it's my list, go play in traffic. Regardless, it's only fair to speak on the less than stellar gameplay. Don't get me wrong, the tracking is still fun and the moving arrows do mess me up a bit, but ultimately it's nothing short of note spam in certain areas. Even still, that's all I have to say about it. Promotion was a surprise I never thought I'd have, and a song certainly worth playing, cementing it at number 7. But whatever happened to Luigi? Well... I had no intention of sticking these songs so closely together, but after close inspection, I found that all of the classified songs follow a strong theme: abandonment. Abandon sets a strong opening with the muffled intro coupled with the musical fade introducing the song. It gives that creepy horror vibe that most of these haunted Marios fall just short of doing. I like that eerie sound that the track carries through the whole melody, with Luigi sounding like a drowned ghost every time he opens his mouth. The song takes great effort to pace itself correctly, letting fast parts hit hard and slow parts sink in that feeling of uneasiness. I also like the throwback to other Mario 64 water levels, with the theme from Wet Dry World being a strong motif. The charting is excellent as well. While fast notes hit, I never felt like they were thrown in for the sake of just being there. Each note felt planned with a sense of purpose, which always makes playing these songs fun. The control pyramids were also a nice touch, allowing us to control the health drain with accurate timing and attention to detail. I had to replay this song a few times because the fast part near the end is brutal if you're not accurate enough. The styles are very hollow and empty, feeling more like a wet coffin than a grand display of villainy like other songs shoot for. The style change to SM64 models was also a nice touch, although it proves to be more interesting in practicality. Still, it was great to see and gratifying to play. This ends the reign of the Classified series, standing as the best of them at number 6. Power Down is an honest-to-God masterpiece. Okay, maybe that's a bit much, but hear me out. This song is everything that Demise should have been. We'll tackle that more later, but first, this opener is perfectly ripped straight out of Mario 85. The design for the fake Mario is somehow perfectly one-to-one. He's all dark and off-putting, almost as if someone's wearing Mario's skin as a suit. On top of that, the first part of the song hits in a way that perfectly lays up the rest of the song. It's dark, eerie, and most of all, menacing. Which, speaking of menacing, we are introduced to MX, who I've already covered, but for the hell of it, let's pretend like we don't know the guy, because holy fuck do I love him! Remember how I said this song is what Demise should have been? The tracking is phenomenal. The arrows paint a clear melody and isn't afraid of moving fast. Which, if Demise wanted to excel where Power Down succeeded, it really should have played off this method. Regardless, the song itself hits a different mark than most songs in this mod, with this theme being one of menace. There's nothing truly unsettling about MX, like how nothing's truly unsettling about Jason Voorhees. Sure, he's probably gonna kill you horribly, but he's very direct about it. He's not creepy, he's imposing. And the same goes for MX. He's a physical representation of a sadistic Mario. There's no question on whether or not he's gonna hurt you. It's whether or not you can escape. The track gives you a feeling of dread. MX isn't going for the kill like Turmoil or Mr. L. He's playing with his prey, almost laughing at their hopelessness. Speaking of, whoever voices MX is my canonical voice for him, because god damn does he check all the boxes. On top of that, the gameplay is extremely fun to run. The arrows are hittable with a dodge mechanic that is not rhythmic whatsoever, but I think that works for this song. I'm constantly looking out for it, rather than feeling out when I'm gonna get hit. It's a really dirty trick that works to great extent, and the backdrop is phenomenal. The split toad and the severed head of Lucas just sitting there in the background, not to mention the hellish visuals of the sky. The song doesn't go above and beyond because it doesn't have to. MX is not the star of the show, but he'll make you run like an extra. I think a comment put it best. My biggest complaint about this song is that you can only hear it for the first time once, which is why I'm placing Power Down at number 5. When I first started playing this game, I had absolutely no prior rhythm game experience. Naturally, I knew this mod was going to be tough, so instead of familiarizing myself with the base game, I decided to dive headfirst into Mario Madness, and let me tell you, that was the correct choice. It's a Me is a perfect tutorial song. I've never enjoyed struggling to learn rhythm controls more than I did playing this track. The hard rock melodies coupled with intense vocals hit the part of my soul that adores metal and horror. Mario executes his notes in a way that's so seamless that it almost doesn't feel like an FNF song, not to mention the killer instrumentals backing the whole song. Every part of this ensemble hits, from the drums to the guitar and even the mixed synthesizer. The whole song feels great to listen to, and the note charting is beautifully simple. I feel like this level was designed to give experienced players something to jam along to, and newcomers to familiarize themselves with the game. Notes are simple in the way that it doesn't feel patronizingly slow, but not hell speed fast either. It's perfect. I love his rows of sharp teeth and unhinged jaw when the second phase hits, which, speaking of, the moment Horror Mario drops the games and laughs, the whole song hits a tone change. It's like the guitar grew a pair of arms and started shredding itself. This is where the real tutorial kicks in. If you were just note spamming up to this point, well, now it's time to pay attention. Poisonous mushrooms fly onto the screen. Touching one equals near instant death for any newcomers. And it's wonderful. I was stuck on this level for up to 3 hours trying to get past the mushrooms, and never did I get tired of hearing the same track over and over. I almost want to spend a whole 10 minutes gushing about the song, but in the spirit of time, I'll cut myself off. It's a Me is a masterclass introduction to the Mario Madness mod, bringing in our finalists at the head of the top 4. This may or may not be a controversial pick, but I'll try to rationalize it as much as possible. Alone is one of those songs that does its job so well that I hardly even notice that it's doing a job at all. First, the song is drop dead awesome. It's so melancholic and slow while maintaining the possibility for notes to chart fast, while still making it sound slow. I love the callback to Luigi's Mansion at the start, but the whole song treads new ground so well that the track itself almost sounds like it belongs in Luigi's Mansion. As silly as this is to say, this song ranks so high because it was able to do something that most of these songs fail to do. Hell, even most modern day media fails to do. It actually made me feel sad. Despite that, I had a fat smile on my face through the whole song, like a psycho. And if I haven't said it enough yet, I'll say it again. The charting is perfect. All of the notes play a conscious sound for a specific part of the melody that all flows together. Nerd talk aside, I always have fun playing this level. And when Mario comes out singing, oh, it hits. It's so desolate and hopeless. I love it so goddamn much. Of course, how could I ignore the designs? The Luigi, Boo Friend, and Ghoul Friend silhouettes are great. I read that in a comment somewhere and I decided to keep it in my script. I love the vibrant colors for the ghost, while Luigi is coated in a dark shadow, mirroring his sorrow. The mansion also works as the second best backdrop of any other Mario Madness song. But that's just my taste. Luigi couldn't find the courage to save his brother, leaving him all alone at number 3. Oh man, this takes me back. Bad Day is one of those songs that I did not expect to work as well as it did. Right out the gate, the song comes swinging with upbeat chords and fun mechanics. This song is based on the This song is based on the Super Bad Mario video series, where Mario runs around the internet causing people to fail. You know, funny cat fails, people falling off of boats, stuff like that. The notes flow incredibly well, to where even when the song changes pace, it never feels too repetitive. The flow is fresh and so are the vocals. Mario sounds like an 8-bit Avicii. I don't know how to say the band name, but bam, right there, those guys, which they do reference. I don't know if it's just nostalgia or if it's because I'm hooked on this mod, but hearing that made me so happy. The track only gets better as time progresses since Mario is not restricted to the screen, allowing him to run, jump, and stomp whatever he wants. And it's used to such great effect. I love the shell knocking the health bar back and the purple mushrooms invading the note bar, especially when Mario jumps off of Girlfriend's face just to foot stomp the notes, taking out the health meter. I love how invasive he is. Nothing is off limits. And the line work is just stellar. I love the low-grade colors used to give the window a home video style, and the way Mario feels out of place standing on the bookshelf. I love it. Of course, the crowning jewel is when he starts busting a move in the middle of a rap battle. Look at this motherfucker, not a care in the world. Bad Day Mario has spent a lot of time ruining people's day, but in the end, those videos brought all of us laughter and fun. So how bad can he be? Bad Day is a near perfect masterpiece, and that's why I'm placing it at number 2. Speaking of perfection, I think it's time. Was there any doubt? All Stars is almost a perfect example of how to write a colossal size climax. Just like with Unbeatable, we're going to break this down into acts and then give a score at the end. But I'm sure you can guess what it'll be. Cryptic messages aside, Act 1 is off to a phenomenal start with a disturbingly mutated horror Mario, who we will now refer to as Ultra M. Don't ask me, it's in the game. The design behind Ultra M is a glorified Eldritch Mario, with some sort of reference to Mario Odyssey in a decrepit, cappy-looking hat. I'm not great with descriptions, cut me a break. It's here that I think All Stars shows off its real strength, and that's that the song focuses on being a song first and a game second. This is not to say that the gameplay takes a hit, far from it. Since All Stars focuses on the music, the notes feel concise and natural to pursue, almost leading you to expect where the next notes will lead. It's in this focus on music that the gameplay is at its peak, showcasing the best thing this mod has to offer, and things only get better from here. Also, I should mention that having Girlfriend sing with Boyfriend at this point was a genius touch by the game devs. But that won't last long. In Act 2, Girlfriend is dragged away, leaving us in a showdown with a Tanuki Mario known as Omega. This is an excellent subversion, since it becomes clear that everything we know about this game is about to be flipped on its head. Opponents are not so black and white. I love that Omega sounds like a disgruntled old man. Oh, and every time he hits that scream. The new scenery is fantastic, along with the additional 3 monsters. Luigi, Wario, and Yoshi. I know they have weird names, but God knows I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Every part of Act 2 is a jam. There is no low point. From the scream to Yoshi to the melody, every little part of Act 2 made me nearly fall out of my chair. I'm being scatterbrained, so let's condense my thinking to key points. The chromatics harmonize astonishingly well, and they really utilize this. The backdrop is also an underrated masterpiece, since it gives this feeling of being stranded in a swirling vortex of hell, while still being recognizably a Mario level. Which leads me to arguably my least favorite part, but don't worry, even the worst taffy's still sweet. In Act 3, we are introduced to a mutilated girlfriend and a disturbingly large Ultra M. Now, this would normally be the moment where I monologue about poor girlfriend and how distraught boyfriend is, and I could do that, but I'd rather talk shit. I have never liked boyfriend or girlfriend, so this means nothing to me. As I've seen so many people react like their favorite character got killed right in front of them, and to be fair, maybe some of them did, but I really don't like these two. Why, you may ask? All summarized in one word: hubris. You talk shit, you get shit. So when you have a cocky attitude, I'd like to see your clock get punched. Bias aside, I'll cliff notes my praise. The chromatic on Girlfriend is great, and I think Act 3 really needed a low, slow part to naturally lead into the hype of Act 4. I've seen some people say that this part should have been faster, but I don't think so. Sure, it's my least favorite part, but something had to take last place. The lyrics from Ultra M make Act 3 though. I will never listen to this song without thinking about those words. They blend so perfectly with the track, allowing itself to be good without taking away from the song or diverting focus. We've come to the end now. Act 4 is where everything reaches its breaking point. For the swirling background of perverted power-ups and the beautiful new art style for Ultra M, I'm going to slap the ranking and just go to town praising this song in its entirety. I've seen some people use the term "not as hard" in comparison, usually implying that it's somehow less good or not as provocative. I completely and utterly disagree. All Stars is not hard, because the devs know it doesn't have to be. It just needs to be fun. And man is it fun. Every part, from the instrumentals to the chromatics, even the note placement, the song has no outside mechanics, and I still gave it a 10, simply for how perfect every note feels in the grand design. Another thing I see overlooked is the sampled voices from the previous enemies at the end of All Stars. Oh yeah, they're in there. From MX all the way to Turmoil, every notable bad guy makes a cameo as a backup dancer. And while it's not outright apparent, I think it's still cool as fuck. Despite it not being a perfect song, I feel like it's as perfect can get. So there was no question in my mind at what song belonged at number 1. And there it is, my completed ranking of every song in Mario Madness from top to bottom. Special thank you to Marco Antonio and the rest of the crew who worked so hard to give us one of the best rhythm game mods of all time. Seriously, I mean it. And thank you for watching all the way through. Agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks. I really like talking about Mario Madness because, I was hyper fixated for a couple months. And I would like to talk about it more, but we'll save that for a later video. That being said, that's about all I got. I'll see you all in the next project. See you later, bye guys.